Hi, this is Jack Downs. I'm going to take a quick run through your Intro to Audacity assignment, which you can also use your instructions and complete it mostly there, but this may help. Here's some of the things we're going to talk about: saving project, selecting, zooming, spacebar, transport toolbar, control cut or control X, trim, find zero crossings, fading in and out, normalize. Why did I say save project again? Maybe because it's good to do, and final export. So let's go ahead to along to the assignment. I have my drive here. You're going to need to make 2 project folders. That's in the assignment. I tell you what to call them. There's one called Music Edit. I have one right here. One called Voice Edit. I have it right here. Your assignment starts with Music Edit, so we'll start there. Of course, I've got my 3 subfolders in there, as you should have. And I've put my Music Edit file from Moodle into the originals. I got to get that into Audacity now. How could I do that? I could drag or drop it. Funny, it's already there. Or I could just go File, Import, Audio, which I think is a little better, and then open it up. You may have to navigate to find your drive in your folder. You'll get some messages also about safe or not, so on and so forth, that I may not get, but it works the same way. This is the same version that you have in the classroom, almost exactly, I think. Okay, so the goal here is to first listen to the file. You know what this sounds like. I've already played it before. It's just some music, and it continues on and on. There are some changes throughout, though. Your job is to shorten it to 60 seconds, which is 1 minute, plus or minus 5 seconds, so that would be 55 to 65 seconds. So how are you going to do that? Well, first of all, you can see that it is about 3 minutes and, well, I could select the whole thing, and even with the silence at the end, I can go down here and say it's 3 minutes and 31.88 seconds. This is an important thing to realize, is that a selected stuff, you can look at the length here when it's clicked on length, as it probably will be for you. Okay, so it's way longer than I need. What could I do? Well, I could just take the first minute, right, and then cut the rest off the end. How would I do that? I could select everything from about 1 minute, right? I could Control X or use the delete key to delete it. How did I select, by the way? I just dragged. That's all you got to do. Then I could listen to it to see if I liked the ending, but it's going to go to the ending, and then it's going to cut very suddenly at the end. That would be okay. However, I could also do Control Z and another Control Z. I did too many Control Zs. When you do too many Control Zs, you can lose your whole file. Import audio, bring it on again. Here it is. So I could do that, or I could select, take the last minute. I could select it, and then I could delete everything else. Okay, and using the same method, I could select 1 minute from the middle that I liked. I could listen to it and determine what it was. That's about a minute in the middle. How am I knowing this? I'm looking at this toolbar at the top, which is minutes and seconds. It's that because it's my zoom feature, right? So I can select this middle minute, roughly a minute. I can use the Edit Remove Special. Here's some choices. Split Cut means it cuts the stuff I've selected and puts the rest of it together. Split Delete is very similar, except it just doesn't save it onto your like your Control X, Control C pasteboard. So either these really do the same thing. I'll just show you what this does. It would take the minute from the middle and remove it, right? And then I could jam those pieces together. But that's not the point. That's not what I wanted to do, right? Control Z, only 1 this time. What if I said, no, I want to save that stuff I selected and delete everything else? That's another choice. Remove Special. Trim. Trim means delete the other stuff. And there it goes. And that's the stuff that's deleted. It's kind of hanging out here in the middle now. I would change to my Time Shift tool and drag it down here to 0 point. And then I would continue along with my work. Either way, one way or the other, by deleting from one end, deleting from the other end, or trimming the stuff and taking the middle stuff that you selected. Either way, you're going to end up with a minute of stuff that you want. Roughly a minute. Okay? If you do it like this, you're going to have 2 ends to deal with. two ends that are way too abrupt. Well, then you're going to use, and you can find information about this in the tip area, you're going to use the fade idea. Fading in and out. I suggest fade should be no more than 1 to 3 seconds. 1 to 3 seconds, how do you know that? Well, I'm going to get back to my regular selection tool if I've changed to the time shift tool. Okay, I'm going to select about 5 seconds at the end. I can tell that's a 5-second mark right there. I'm going to zoom in. Zooming around is really important. I'm going to say fit selection so I can see how much is this. That's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I'm going to take a second and a half and just select it. And I'm going to use effect fade. I'm going to fade in. This is the start. So it takes it from nothing and fades it gradually in over 1.5 seconds. 2 or 3 seconds would be fine also. More than that I think is too much. Now I'm going to go back and view my entire file at once. I can say fit project. I'm going to select the very end and I'm going to zoom into it so I can see where I'm supposed to be with fit selection. There I am. I'm going to take the last, that would be 1 second. That's about 1.5 seconds. Let's try 2 seconds this time. Actually, that's 59 to 1. So that's only 1 second. 58.5, whatever, something like that. Remember I said 1 to 3 seconds. I'm going to go to effect, fade out. Okay, good. And I'm going to zoom back out all the way. By the way, I should have already done this, but you can do it now. Save project as, and yes, I know, it gives me that warning button. I've got to go, I don't want to be in originals anymore. I want to be in working. You could give it a different name. I'm not sure that I actually suggest one. Perhaps I do, but I think you're going to definitely want to put your last name in there. Lowercase probably. I'm going to say working. This is an AUP, as you see, which is supposed to be. So I save that there. I should have saved that probably at the very beginning, and then I should do some little Control S's, regular saves as I go along. The only other things it says in the assignment was you don't have to really find zero crossings unless you were. We'll do that in the next little piece. But find zero crossings is really only necessary if you are taking a chunk out in the middle. When you're done, normalize, it says. That's a typical thing we do at the end of almost anything we do. Normalize just adjusts the amplitude to a good high level. In the case of this file, you can see, as this save is taking forever, the peaks of this waveform are really close to the top and bottom in both the left and right channels. That's why there's 2 of these as left and right channels. It's stereo. Well, that's good. So really, normalize isn't necessary. It may actually bring the amplitude down a little bit, which would be fine. The normal normalize effect we use at the end is to -1 dB, -1 decibels. Effect, normalize. This button is okay. That's good to have checked on. Normalize. It should default to -1. That's good. Otherwise, you change it. That's good. Normalize stereo channels independently. That is fine. You can preview, or you can just say OK. So it's going to go through the file, and it really did almost nothing to it. That's okay. All right. So it'll have a very little effect. It would have a little effect. It'll have much more effect on the other file we do. And then you do file, export, right? Export audio. I want it to be MP3. I gotta find the right location too, though. Go to my computer, my drive, my 240 folder that you have. There's my project folder. This one is music edit. I'm going to be grading. I'm going to say downs music. It's not an edit anymore. I'm just going to say music. Anything with your name, your last name, and so on is fine. I may give you specific instructions. Take a look at those to see. I ask you for a certain name. I'm usually not that picky about it. As long as you get the file type right, that I am picky about, and say save. And yeah, I don't have to do anything for that. It takes a moment, and there it goes. Okay. You'll have to load that up to Moodle, of course. Okay, if we go to the second part of this, get my Audacity up full. Good. And again, we're going to go File, Import Audio. This time we're going to go look at the voice. Remember, I have 2 project folders, voice edit. In the originals, I already put the voice edit wave, and there it is. This is a more typical file like you might have from a recording. Typically, you have some dead air at the beginning. I'll select it and just click delete. You should also, and at the end, select it and click delete. We call that trimming the tip and tail. Now the key thing here is that I need you to make an internal cut to remove the words for audio and video productions. Okay. Oh, we should probably do a save project. And yes, okay, so what? And I'm going to call this is not working. This is not music anymore. This is in my other folder. It's in my voice edit. Am I working? And this is Downs working voice. Or something like that. Whatever. Doesn't much matter. Won't see that file anyway. Let's take a moment to save the project. You can see this file looks quite different than the other one. There's lots of gaps and so on. You should, of course, listen to it. You should have your headphones on, of course. I know that the words we are going to be deleting are in the later half of the file. So assuming you've already listened to the whole thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the later half of the file and just view it from about here to the end. So I'm going to zoom into that area, fit that project. Let's just listen to that.
Great. For audio video productions, I'm John Burgess.
So the for audio video production starts here, right? Start from there.
For audio video productions, I'm John Burgess.
And it ends roughly here. Now you could just delete and delete and delete little bits until you get there, or you can just select that whole thing and then see what has that got.
For audio video productions.
That's it for audio video productions. That's the part you want to delete out. Now you could just go ahead and delete right now. On the other hand, I want you to do something called Find Zero Crossings. Under the Edit menu, Find Zero Crossings. What this does is it makes a tiny change in the selection, one you wouldn't even recognize, just so that the waveforms on either side of this cut from the middle, either side of this cut will line up. Now, if you don't do this, you have a greater chance of having a little pop, a little inconsistency. It'll listen. You might hear like a little click, or we call it pop. So I'm going to say find zero crossings. It makes a indecipherable or unrecognizable tiny change to the selection. You can always try zooming in way hard, way finely on that selection on one edge, and you would see the change when you do that. I'm just going to hit the delete key now, and now if I back it up, we'll see I no longer have those words. I'll start back here.
Great. I'm John Burgess.
Good, and it just goes smoothly on. I don't want a big gap in there either. Other kinds of work you would do in here, you don't need to with this file, but you could do a, if there are other big gaps, you could delete some of the dead air in the middle of the file too. This one's okay. You did the dead air at either ends. That's the key thing, is to get a good cut here. Now, if you do your cut and it doesn't sound right, it has a pop or something, or the words are too close, you cut into a word a little bit, just do Control-Z and just do it again. Just get the cut right. So it sounds right. That's the key thing. It has to sound right. And now you're ready to, again, export. Oh, no, we had to normalize. That's right. So I'm going to view the entire file. We're not going to do any fades here. We don't generally fade voice. We fade music or other sound sometimes, like crowd noise and so on, fading in and out. However, we are going to normalize. So Effect, Normalize. Typically do this at the end. We may do it sometimes in the middle also of editing. And these numbers and checkboxes are all fine. I'll just say, okay, watch the file when you do. The whole thing expands slightly. Okay, so everything expands to a certain point. It doesn't clip, but it just fully expands it to fill up the whole track, so you get as much sound as you can. It does it all as one big piece though. So some areas are still lower and some are higher. And now it's time to export your MP3 and then go put both files up on Moodle. And that's it for the demonstration.